Good evening. It's Saturday, the 24th of May. You're tuned in to our 6 p.m. newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. Our top story this evening, it's the first weekend of the official 13-day campaigning period for the June 4th local elections. Thousands of candidates from the ruling Saenuri Party and the main opposition, New Politics Alliance for Democracy, have been hitting the streets on this Saturday to connect with voters. The metropolitan cities of Seoul and Incheon, along with Gyeonggi-do province, are shaping up to be the fiercest battlegrounds in these elections. Meeting with voters Saturday, Seoul mayoral candidates Chung Mong-joon of the ruling party and incumbent Park Won-soon have been pushing their policies for improving the people's livelihoods. Candidates nationwide have been focusing heavily on safety-related pledges to win support from a public disappointed and frustrated with the government's handling of the Sewol-ho ferry disaster. The June 4th poll will see 3,952 local administrative and legislative positions filled. Now, the former chairman of South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff has warned that North Korea might have the will and the capability to wage an all-out war with South Korea. Park Ji-won reports.
General Chung Mong-joon, who served as the chairman of South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff until last October, has raised the possibility that North Korea could wage an all-out war with South Korea. Speaking at a seminar in Washington under the theme of North Korea's military threat and South Korea-U.S. alliance, Chung said Pyongyang's military capabilities and its long-standing ambition of a forceful unification means there's a possibility the North could initiate a major conflict with the South.
Some experts assess that North Korea does not have the capability to conduct an all-out war due to the aged equipment and the economic gap. However, I'm skeptical of this assessment.
General Chung said North Korea boasts massive conventional armed forces and it's intensifying its asymmetric military capabilities, such as diverse long-range missiles and chemical and biological weapons. He also expressed concern about North Korea conducting a fourth nuclear test.
They will try to show off their diversity of nuclear weapons by utilizing highly enriched uranium to hold a high-intensity nuclear test.
He added the North has deployed about 70% of its military capabilities, including its diverse long-range missiles, to regions south of Pyongyang. This means it could carry out a surprise attack on South Korea at any time. He stressed, however, the South Korea-U.S. alliance has been successful in deterring North Korea. The general said the South Korea military needs to keep strengthening its capabilities, especially in terms of tactical command and control, surveillance patrols, and surgical strikes. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
39 days have passed since the Sewol-ho ferry sank in waters of Korea's southwestern coast, and on this Saturday, no progress in the search for the 16 people still missing. Divers have been focusing their search on the third and fourth floor of the sunken ship, but despite their efforts and the favourable tidal conditions, they haven't recovered a single body now since Wednesday. The number of people confirmed dead stands at 288. Meanwhile, prosecutors and police are still searching for the fugitive de facto owner of the Sewol-ho ferry, Yoo Byung-an, and his eldest son, Yoo Dae-gyun. Police are offering the highest reward possible under Korean law of nearly $50,000 to anyone who can provide information leading to Yoo Byung-an's arrest. Police suspect Yoo, the leader of a religious cult, may be hiding in a home of a devotee. Officers say those found harbouring the suspect will be severely punished. Two of Yoo's close aides and his other two children, known to be living abroad, have been put on Interpol's wanted list. In some economic news now, a monthly household income in Korea grew 5% during the first 3 months of the year, thanks to improving labour market conditions that led to more people finding work. According to a report by Statistics Korea, the income of households consisting of 2 members or more averaged almost $4,300 a month during the January to March period. That's up from $4,100 a year earlier. The growth rate is much faster than the 1.7% gain during the final quarter of last year. On the flip side, however, the amount of money going out also increased. Households spent an average of $2,600 a month in the first quarter. That's up 4.5% from a year earlier. Now, it's pretty warm in Korea, and when the warmer summer-like temperatures creep in, Koreans reach for relief in the form of medicinal food. The unseasonably hot weather we've been feeling this spring has prompted people here in the country to seek out these dishes a lot earlier than normal. Our Son Jung-in reports.
Octopus, rich in essential amino acids, along with abalone and eel, can be seen prominently displayed in supermarkets these days amid warmer than average temperatures. People tend to fill their shopping carts with these so-called medicinal foods or 보양식 when the mercury rises, as they're looking for foods that will help them beat back the heat and replenish their energy levels.
I came here to buy abalone and the ingredients to stuff samgyetang for my family because the weather is getting hot.
A local retailer says their sales of summer medicinal food have increased significantly in the last couple of weeks compared to the same period last year. Sales of Korean beef byproducts like leg bones and feet have doubled, while sales of octopus have surged by 145%. Similar bumps were seen for abalone and eel products. As for chicken, sales have rebounded after tumbling by 20% in February due to the avian influenza virus outbreak, thanks to surging demand for Koreans' long-favored summer food samgyetang, or ginseng chicken soup. The rise in demand has distributors scrambling to take advantage.
Sales of medicinal food like chicken and abalone are showing a constant rise with the arrival of earlier than expected summer heat. We are preparing enough supply to meet the surging demand, as this trend is expected to continue for the time being.
And with months of sweltering summer heat on its way, local suppliers are looking forward to what they hope will be a banner season. Son Jung-in, Arirang News.
Turning now to the latest on the tense and extremely fluid situation in Thailand. The military government has ordered 35 more people, including some prominent academics, to report to them as their crackdown continues. Former Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra and another 150 other people, mostly her political associates, are already being held by the military, which seized power in a coup on Thursday. The military council says it only plans on holding Yingluck and the others until matters in the country are organised. A military official said the former prime minister should be free within a week. Despite the coup, people are still free to travel in, out and around the country, and airports across Thailand are open. The United States has suspended $3.5 million in military aid to Thailand and has told the army to restore civilian rule. Now, you might not know it, but Korea and China have only had official bilateral relations for a little over 2 decades. Today, the two countries have countless cultural exchanges happening all the time. Just one of these has been taking place at a university right here in Seoul on this Saturday, a Mandarin speaking competition where scores of Koreans got together to show off their Chinese language skills. Our Shin Se-min has this report.
A sizable part of President Park Geun-hye's speech at Beijing's Tsinghua University last year was in Mandarin. She was keen to emphasize how strongly she regards Korea-China ties.
尊敬的陈继宁校长，各位教职人员，以及亲爱的各位清华学子们，大家好。
As a means to boost a close relationship, a Chinese-speaking competition took place Saturday at a university in Seoul.
150 participants, young and old, gathered at an event hosted by the Korea-China Science and Cultural Exchange Association. People from all over the country, even from as far as Jeju Island, came to be evaluated by Chinese professors on the topic of their choice.
It's my second time taking part. I hope to apply my Chinese skills and eventually become a Chinese teacher.
The annual competition discovers talented people, young or old, who can contribute to making Korea a more multicultural nation, and it also helps boost ties between the two countries. The president of the hosting organization says many past participants have used their language skills in different fields, such as in education or broadcasting.
Our initial aim was to bring two nations closer. I think the growing number of people taking part proves that. In the near future, we hope to launch a Korean-speaking competition in China.
Organizers hope that with many more events like this in the pipeline, the two countries can forge even closer ties in the future. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Okay, and before we go, we're going to have a brief check on the weekend weather. Most of the country is under cloudy skies this evening. Sunday will feel noticeably cooler than today, with the highs only creeping up to the low 20s. Rain is expected across the central region from the afternoon. Let's take a look at the weather wherever you are in the world. And that's all we have for you for now. We'll be back with another newscast at 10 p.m. Korea time.